Hello, my name's Tonya, and I'm an amputee. I have had a liposarcoma of the upper right arm for 26 years. I consider myself very fortunate and blessed. That's a long time to have a liposarcoma. I've been through treatment at Cottage Hospital, UCLA, and was treated for 14 years at City of Hope. At some point, my doctor said, we can no longer get clean margins to remove the tissue that has to be removed. So the time has come for an amputation. That required that I did some really heavy-duty meditation and was able to say to myself, I can do this. I can go forth when people stare and look and children point and things like that. I can do my explanation, which is to say, oh, you notice that my arm's different, right? Well, of course I do. And then I proceed to say my arm was very sick for a long time, and the doctor said he couldn't fix it anymore. So we decided that it should come off. I learned to do so many things. I can do almost everything that I did before. One little boy said, you can still do everything? I said, well, almost. So a lot of it is preparing my head, preparing my heart, and knowing that I was still a whole person, and I continue with my life. I have painted for many years, and I painted with two hands. I now paint with one hand. In fact, the mural behind me was painted laying on the ground and me over it with brushes that were tied to long handles so I could reach as far as I needed to reach to do some of the pieces of the work. I found that I can manipulate the materials about as well as I did before. I've learned a few other tricks as well. One of the things I've been practicing is eating with chopsticks. And at first, the food went to the left, went to the right, went across the table. Over time, I've learned that I can use chopsticks and do a fairly decent job of feeding myself. That's a personal goal, and it was very tickling to know that. So with each of the goals that I've been able to reach, I feel like I'm so very close to being as I always was. I am writing. I had to learn, being a right-handed person my entire life, I had to learn how to write with the left hand. At first, all I did was print, and it was very wiggly, like I was nervous all the time. Over time, I've been able to write so that it's legible, and sometimes I print, sometimes I use cursive, and I feel like I can send a note. If I'm doing a lot of writing, if I'm writing an entire poem for someone, I may dictate it on the computer, print it, and put it inside a handmade card that is a little bit easier to read than rows and rows of my printing. I've also learned to work with right-handed tools. For instance, I have a pair of scissors that are right-handed. They have a red knob on one side. If I turn the knob away from me, however that positions the scissors, I'm then able to cut so I can open bags and packages and things of that sort. These are all things that you learn by doing. Today, before I started this series, I was picking up the dog's dish. She had left some of her food. In the process, I dropped the dish and the food went all over the floor. So my tool to clean up is to take this broom and the dustpan, bring the broom under one arm, I can show you later, and position the dustpan so that it rests on my foot, and I can manage to pick up the things that are spilled on the floor and clean them up. So that's all very joyous for me, because the journey could have said, you're done, you don't get to do much of anything anymore, or this is merely an issue, it doesn't define you. And so I'm not defined by my amputation. I am very grateful for the life I'm living, and I feel like it is such a treat to be able to share some tools and some philosophy with other people. It doesn't always have to be an amputation in order to learn new tools. It could be a shoulder injury. It could be a broken arm. My friend fell and fractured his shoulder and for a long time had just one arm. Another friend had elbow surgery and had to do things with one arm. And you learn. So the things that I'm sharing are from practical experience and from the heart, because I think all of us want to be as capable and self-sufficient and comfortable with ourselves as we possibly can be. And that means being a whole person, even if a piece is missing. So that's my message, and I'm very grateful to have the tools that I have and to have the helpers. I find that wherever I go, people are so very willing to help. At the grocery store, sometimes one of the clerks will take the groceries out to the car for me. I do use a cart to take groceries from the car into the house. And excuse me, unfortunately, my cart just self-destructed. A piece broke, and so I have a new one on order. I can't show it to you, it hasn't arrived yet. But the idea of a little pull cart to make the transport from the car to the home is very useful. So you learn to use tools, and in sharing, I'm hoping that it makes tools more fun for other people so you feel more whole. Thank you, and go forth with your journey. Thank you.